Sarah filed for divorce because she thought her husband was cheating. But when Dr. Phil asked one simple question, "Who pays your mortgage?" the answer led to a bank account that had been active for 11 years, under a dead woman's name. And that dead woman was her husband's first wife, who'd supposedly died in a car accident before they ever met. Sarah's hands gripped the armrest so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Her husband David sat 3 feet away, but it might as well have been 3 miles. "He's lying," Sarah said, her voice tight. "About everything. The late nights. The locked office. I work from home," David interrupted. His voice was calm. Too calm. "I'm a financial analyst. I keep client files confidential." "For 11 years?" Sarah's laugh was sharp, bitter. "You've been working late for 11 years. Dr. Phil leaned forward. "Sarah, you filed for divorce 3 weeks ago. What finally made you do it?" She reached in her purse and pulled out a folded receipt. Her hands trembled as she smoothed it flat. "I found this in his car. A hotel receipt. From 2 months ago." She looked at David, and her eyes were full of something between rage and heartbreak. "Our anniversary. The night you said you were at a conference." The audience murmured. David's jaw clenched. "I can explain." "No." Sarah cut him off. "You always have an explanation. You always have a reason. But I'm done believing you." Dr. Phil took the receipt, studied it. "This is from the Marriott downtown. December 15th. Our anniversary," Sarah repeated, her voice cracking. But Dr. Phil was frowning. He looked at David. "Who's Elena Martinez?" The studio went silent. David's face drained of color. His legs started bouncing against the stage floor, the sound echoing in the quiet. He stopped, swallowed. "That's not. It's on the receipt," Dr. Phil continued. "The room was booked under Elena Martinez. Credit card ending in 4739. Sarah turned to her husband. "Who the hell is Elena Martinez?" David's mouth opened. No sound came out. "I need a minute," David said. He stood up. His hands were shaking. "Sit down," Dr. Phil said. It wasn't a request. David sat. Sarah was staring at him like she'd never seen him before. "David, who is she?" "She's," he stopped. His throat worked. "She's no one." "She's." "Don't." Sarah's voice cracked. "Don't you dare say she's no one. You used her credit card. At a hotel. On our anniversary. It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Dr. Phil asked quietly. "Because I'm having a hard time thinking of an innocent explanation here." David rubbed his face with both hands. When he looked up, his eyes were red. "I can't tell you." The audience erupted. Dr. Phil raised a hand, and they quieted. "You can't? Or you won't?" "Both." David's voice was barely above a whisper. "If I tell her, I'll—" He stopped. "I'll lose everything." Sarah made a sound like she'd been slapped. "You've already lost me." "No." David looked at her, and there was something desperate in his eyes. "You don't understand. If I tell you the truth, you'll be in danger." The air in the room changed. Dr. Phil straightened. "What kind of danger?" David shook his head. "I can't." "You're going to have to," Dr. Phil said. His voice had dropped to that register he used when something serious was happening. "Because I just had my producer run a background check on Elena Martinez." He held up a tablet. On the screen was a photo of a woman. Dark hair, bright smile, mid-30s. "This is Elena Martinez. She was your first wife. And according to public records, she died in a car accident 13 years ago." Sarah's face went slack. "You're what?" David closed his eyes. "You told me," Sarah said slowly, each word careful and deliberate, "that you'd never been married before. But that wasn't even the worst part." "I can explain," David said again. "You keep saying that." Dr. Phil set the tablet down. "So explain. Your first wife died 13 years ago. But someone with her name and social security number has been making monthly payments on your mortgage for the last 11 years. How is that possible?" Sarah stood up, sat back down, stood again. I can't." "The account is active," Dr. Phil continued. $600 a month. Regular as clockwork. Same day every month for 132 consecutive months. He looked at David. "So, I'll ask you again. Who's paying your mortgage?" David's hands were clasped together, so tightly his fingers had turned white. "She is. She's dead," Sarah said, her voice hollow. "No." David's voice cracked. She's not. The audience gasped. Sarah grabbed the armrest like the stage was tilting. What? She whispered. Dr. Phil's face had gone very still. David, what are you telling us? David took a shuddering breath. Elena isn't dead. She never was. He stopped. Started again. We faked her death. And that's when everything started to unravel. If you've ever felt like you don't really know the person you married, drop a broken heart below. Because what Sarah's about to discover isn't just a lie. It's a conspiracy that's been hiding in plain sight for over a decade. You faked your wife's death. Dr. Phil said it slowly, like he was testing the words. Why? David was crying now, not sobbing, just tears running down his face that he didn't bother to wipe away. Because if we didn't, he would have found her, and he would have killed her. Who? Sarah demanded. Her voice was shrill. Who are you talking about? Her ex-husband, Marco. David looked at Dr. Phil. He was his connected. Cartel. Mexican mafia. I don't know all the details, but Elena ran from him. Changed her name. Started over. But he had people looking for her. So he swallowed. We staged a car accident. Made it look like she died. Closed casket funeral. Death certificate. Everything. There are easier ways to disappear, Dr. Phil said carefully. Not from him. David's voice was flat. He had cops on his payroll. Border Patrol. If she just vanished, he'd have known she ran. But if she was dead, he trailed off. Sarah's hands were over her mouth. Where is she now? David didn't answer. Where is she? Sarah screamed. Close. David's voice was barely audible. She's been close this whole time. Dr. Phil stood up. He walked to the edge of the stage and signaled someone in the production booth. Then he turned back to David. How close? David looked at Sarah. His face was full of something that might have been regret, or guilt, or both. Do you remember when we bought the house? 12 years ago, I said I found a great deal, that the seller was motivated. Sarah nodded slowly, her face pale. Elena bought the house next door. Same day, same closing. He paused. She's been living 3 houses down from us for 11 years. The studio erupted. Audience members shouting. Camera operators turning to look at each other. Dr. Phil raising both hands for quiet. Sarah just sat there, frozen. She stopped. She's been living next to us? This whole time. I had to keep her safe, David said desperately. Marco's people were still looking. If I lost contact with her, if something happened and I didn't know. So you married me? Sarah's voice was eerily calm now. You move her next door? You've been, what? Seeing her? All these years. No, I swear The hotel receipt. Dr. Phil held it up again. December 15th. Explain that. David's shoulders slumped. Marco died. 6 months ago. Heart attack in a federal prison. Elena was finally, his voice broke. She was finally free. The hotel, we were celebrating. Just talking. Planning her next steps. How she could come back to life. He looked at Sarah. I was going to tell you everything. I swear I was. Sarah stood up, walked to the edge of the stage. For a long moment, she just stared at the wall. Then she turned around. Bring her here, she said. Bring Elena here. Right now. Dr. Phil made the call. Elena Martinez walked onto the stage 8 minutes later. She looked exactly like her photo, dark hair, bright eyes, but older. Tired, like someone who'd been hiding for too long. She didn't look at David. She looked at Sarah. I'm sorry, she said immediately. I'm so sorry. Sarah just stared at her. You've been living next door to me for 11 years. Yes. You knew he was married? Yes. Did you? Sarah's voice broke. Did you love him? Do you still? Elena's eyes filled with tears. Once. A long time ago. But no, not anymore. She looked at David. We've been apart longer than we were together. He saved my life, but that doesn't mean, she stopped. He loves you. He's always loved you. Then why didn't he tell me? Sarah's voice was a whisper now. Because I asked him not to, Elena said. Because if anyone knew I was alive, anyone, the risk was too high. Marco had long arms, long memory. She paused. And because I was ashamed of what I'd done, of the life I'd stolen from you both. Dr. Phil had been watching silently. Now he spoke. Elena, the mortgage payments. What? Penance. She said simply. David gave up everything to help me. His credit, his career options, his chance in normal life. The least I could do was help pay for the home I'd forced him to hide me near. Sarah sank back into her chair. I can't. There's something else, Elena said quietly. She reached in her pocket and pulled out an envelope. Handed it to Sarah. I've been writing you letters. For years. Every time I saw you in the yard. Every time I heard you laughing. Every time I watched David look at you the way he used to look at me. She paused. I never sent them because I couldn't. But you should read them. You should know the truth. Sarah opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside were dozens of handwritten pages. She read the first one aloud, her voice shaking. Dear Sarah, today I watched your husband kiss you goodbye before work. I watched him smile at you the way he never smiled at me, even when we were happy. And I realized something. I've been dead for 11 years, but you've been the one living with a ghost. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry I made him carry this secret. I'm sorry I made him choose between protecting me and being honest with you. But mostly, I'm sorry that I've been too much a coward to let go. He doesn't love me anymore. I know that. And that's good, because you deserve all of him, not just the parts he can give while keeping me hidden. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell him it's time. Time to tell you everything. Time to set us all free. I hope you can forgive him. I hope you can forgive me. E. Sarah looked up. This is dated 3 weeks ago. Elena nodded. The day before you found the receipt. He was going to tell you that night. But you filed for divorce first. The silence in the studio was absolute. Dr. Phil sat back down. He looked at Sarah, then David, then Elena. This is the part where I usually have advice, he said quietly. But I'm not sure what to say here. Sarah was still holding the letters. Her face was unreadable. Did you sleep with her? She asked David. Since we've been married. Even once. No. David's voice was firm. Never. I swear on everything. But you wanted to. It wasn't a question. David hesitated. There were moments when I remembered what we used to be. But no, I chose you. Every single day, I chose you. You chose to lie to me, Sarah said. Every single day. Yes. He didn't try to defend it. Sarah stood up. She walked over to Elena. The two women stood face to face. If Marco wasn't dead, Sarah said slowly, would you still be next door in 5 years? 10. Elena didn't hesitate. Yes. And he'd still be lying to me. Yes. Sarah nodded. She turned back to David. I need time. I need. Her voice broke. I don't know what I need. She walked off stage. The camera followed her for a moment, then cut back to David, who sat there with his face in his hands. Elena sat down beside him. Not close. Just there. I'm leaving, she said quietly. I'm finally free to go anywhere. Be anyone. So I'm going. She paused. You should have told her years ago, David. The lie was crueler than the truth. I know. If she forgives you, if she gives you another chance, tell her everything. No more secrets. No more locked offices. Elena stood up. I'm sorry I cost you your marriage. You didn't, David said, looking up at her. I did. 6 months later, the truth settled into something resembling life. The screen showed an update. Elena Martinez legally reclaimed her identity and moved to Portland, Oregon, where she now works as a domestic violence advocate. She has not spoken to David since the taping. David and Sarah entered intensive couples therapy. Sarah did not file the divorce, but she didn't withdraw it either. The camera cut to Dr. Phil in his office. This case, he said, looking into the camera, taught me something I thought I already knew but needed to be reminded of. The truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a lie. Always. He leaned forward. David thought he was protecting Sarah by keeping Elena's secret. But what he actually did was steal her ability to make an informed choice about her own life. For 11 years, the screen showed a photo, Sarah and David sitting on a porch, not touching but together. The date stamp read, Day 187. They're trying, Dr. Phil continued. And that's all any of us can do when we've broken something precious. Try to rebuild it, piece by piece, truth by truth. He paused. But some breaks don't heal clean. Some cracks remain forever. Here's my question for you. If someone you loved had lied to you for years, but they did it to protect someone else's life, would you forgive them? Or is there a point where the reason doesn't matter anymore because the trust is just gone? Sarah chose to stay and try. A lot of people told her she was crazy, that she should have run. But she said something in therapy that stuck with me. I'd rather spend a year trying to forgive him than spend the rest of my life wondering if I could have. Drop your answer below. Could you forgive a lie that big? And if you want to see the follow-up where Sarah reads the rest of Elena's letters, the ones that reveal what else she saw from next door, that story gets even harder. Link in the description. Remember, secrets don't protect love. They suffocate it.